Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about creating walls, going in a little bit more about other ways you can create floors. It's pretty brutally simple, really. You can do it in a lot of ways. Again, I would hover over these things when they kind of talk about what they're doing. But typically you don't need to use structural wall unless you're really planning on doing analysis, although here they're showing foundations, so perhaps you would use it for that. Alright, so let's just do architectural wall. Just zoom in here. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just going in and drawing. Realize that you're assigning it thickness given whatever property that whichever one of these that you've chosen. Those are easy to then modify, so I can just go and edit. You'll see that the width here is grayed out. It's a generic 8-inch wall, and I would really assume that for the most part when you're getting started you just kind of stay with these generic pieces and just kind of decide kind of general thicknesses. Do you want it really thick, or is it going to be really thin? And don't worry about the actual materiality, although you obviously can get into that. So if we have an 8-inch wall that we want to change into, say, a 16-inch wall, all we have to do is, one, you always want to duplicate. You don't want to write over the top of the 8-inch wall because you're going to change it significantly. And then you're going to go into structure and you're going to edit. And in here, all you'd have to do is change this to 16 inches. Say OK, and now we just need to assign that to something we've already drawn. If we zoom in here, you should see a difference. I'm using that center to kind of get it to orbit around the object instead of orbiting around the origin. So there you can see the thickness. Alright. So the other way that you can start drawing walls and floor plates is that you can go do the same thing, but then you can select pick lines. So say I brought in, and I did, I just imported some DWG from Rhino. And you might want to do it at partial explode, but it was looking like it was actually going to take. You can use this little green line here, the arrow says pick lines. So I can just pick a line, and it kind of makes it automatically. Alright, that's pretty easy. So if you already kind of have a defined plan, this makes it really easy. The other thing, then just going into kind of floors, so right now I'm actually selecting walls. It could be that I would select the interior walls. I could also then go do that CAD and select it, and then you have whatever floor type you've assigned it, and there are multiple ones, and you would do the same thing as far as if you like, oh, I just need a 6-inch floor, you can just go in and edit here. Realize that there's also a bunch of information you can start to build, let's say in your wall type. So after you get through kind of the basic schematics of a design, you might want to start to really think about the construction of each of these walls. So what you can do is you can just go into that structure and you can start to build in multiple layers. And in each layer there's kind of generic, whether it's finish, a substrate that's inside, substrate being like plywood or rigid insulation, stuff like that. I guess that would actually, the rigid insulation would be in this thermal barrier. And you start to kind of layer up what each one does. So if you have the structure, it might be like, I don't know, a 6-inch light metal construction. And then you might then have insulation, say rigid insulation of 2 inches inside of that. On the other side of this, you might have a finish. Maybe that's 1/2 inch. And you might then, on the other side of this, move down. You might also have another finish. And say that's, 1/2 inch. And then, so you've started to build a series of walls. Now, again, I've kind of mucked it up because I changed my 16 inch into something specific. I pretend I didn't do that. And where you would assign that. And we can't really see the difference right this moment. We do see that it significantly changed the 16 inches, dropped quite a bit. If we wanted to see kind of what's going on in that wall, we would just, we could do this create parts, and we could see very specifically each substrate. So the outside finish, that rigid insulation, the lightweight construction, and then the finish on this side. So you can see, you can get very specific, and when we cut a floor plan, we could start to see that show up. So I'm just going to go to project browser, go to first floor, zoom over here, and again we don't see it, the difference, but as you get into a finer grain, right now we're on coarse, you get into medium level, and you can start to see kind of each of those layers come about. So that's just a really quick way of talking about assigning and creating walls and floors. So now let's go ahead and assign some of the walls that we've created in the drawing. So we're going to do, if you remember back a couple videos ago, we hid the mask, so we need to learn how to get that stuff back. So what we're going to do is go to this light bulb, and it shows reveal hidden objects. So you're going to right click on top of that, you're going to say unhide, and then you click on that light bulb again, and suddenly it's there. So let's imagine that we want to assign a couple of these surfaces. Let me get my orbit kind of centered again. Alright. So this back wall, and perhaps even this back wall, we're going to make some kind of thick wall. So let's go into architectural, we'll do wall by face, we'll go to properties, let's find some thick wall that is actually correct, so we'll go with the 12 inch, and we'll just select each of these. Pretty simple. Now those things have a little bit of substance. Alright, looks good, and that's how you start to assign some materiality. We may want to go ahead and assign a roof, so we'll just do that. Same roof by face. Again, there's a lot of different ways that you can create these things. Here it's showing just basically drawing a perimeter and then giving it a slope, which is just a simple parameter, say 12 pitch or 12/8 pitch, and it will create that kind of gabled roof for you. There's roof by extrusion, so you could come in with you could import some CAD or draw CAD in Revit. That is something even complex like they're showing here, and you just tell it how far you want it to extrude. We're just going to use the roof by face. Again, it could be a face that's very complex, as they're showing here. For us, it's going to be pretty generic, just a flat roof. Look at it, just the generic flat roof. Again, this is just to assign some properties, but don't forget to hit create roof. For whatever reason, the walls, they don't ask you to do that, but roof and floors, who knew? Alright, so we're just trying to get some properties to what we were drawing here. I think that, well, we might as well go ahead and hit these 4 walls here too while we're at it. Your design will be maybe slightly different, and I'm not sure if I'll use this 12-inch. Maybe I'll go ahead and use the 8-inch generic wall for this one, and we'll go ahead and do the wall by face. So we'll go ahead and click on these 2 walls. I might leave this one blank. I don't know if I really want that to be opaque. And we'll go in, give it a floor. Keep on forgetting to hit Alright, so it's being a bit tricky as far as getting a floor plan because it won't let me pick a face for this thing. So what we're going to have to do is figure out what floor level that actually is on. So I'm going to go to elevation under my project browser. Go to south elevation. I'll see that it's actually on level 5. Right here. So if I go back to the 3D view, what I can do is go under floor and architectural, and I'm going to set the work plane. So you can see, set the work plane. And once you click on that, it's going to ask you like what level, or pick a plane that you want to draw on. I'm going to say level 5, and then I'm just going to draw a rectangle because I know this is a rectangle. If it was some other shape, I would just draw each line, and I'll just say that. So now it's created a floor, and if I want to edit that, which I do, I can do it like that. And say okay. Good start. All right.